Welcome back to We're the Harrises, the best show talking football by the pros that exists. We got Shelby Harris, current player of the Cleveland Browns, as well as Super Bowl champion Chris Harris Jr., probable Hall of Famer, and then myself, Ryan Harris, teammates with Chris Harris Jr. on that Super Bowl 50 team. Fellas, let's get stuff kicked off today by talking about the two Monday night games. Do you guys think that's a good or a bad idea to have two Monday night football games, and why?
Go ahead, Shelby.
Oh man, when it's a game like it was yesterday, on Monday, you know what I mean, like that. When you have one game that's a blowout and the other game that's close, yeah, it's a great idea. But I don't think you should. It's something you should make a habit of, just because the whole country wants to watch you. Like the whole point of a Monday night game is the whole country is watching you. The whole country is watching that one game, and when you make those two games, you kind of split everybody up. And luckily, the Bills-Jags game was such a blowout that everybody just tuned out and started watching the Commanders versus the Bengals. But I just think, this in the future, one Monday night game is really where it should be at.
Right. I don't like the two Monday night football games just because as a player, you kind of be selfish. Like you want everybody, all the lights on you that night, right? It's prime time. You'd only get so many prime time games, right? Depending on what team you are, you might get 6, to 8, depending if some teams don't get any at all. They might just get that one Monday night football game. So that's why I do not like the two Monday night football games. You just want you want that prime time, all eyes on you as a player. But even though, like I said, it worked out good yesterday, right? I was flipping back and forth through both games, and Buffalo's game was over pretty early, so then you could just watch the Cincy game. So it worked out good yesterday.
I'm with you both. I like one Monday night football game. I mean, for those who haven't played in that game, everything's different about a Monday night game. The traffic on the way to the stadium, the way the stadium feels when you walk in, the amount of trucks and people and production you got to walk past. I mean, it's really a badge of honor to be able to play on a Monday night football on Monday night football. And if you start putting two games on there, it's not as much about the attention. You're now affecting the travel for the rest of the week. And I'm of the mind that every traveling team on a Monday night football game needs to stay in that city after the game. Because I tell you what, boys, I've come back way too many times, 4 in the morning, 5:30 after a Monday night game, and it ruins the rest of the season. So I like the one Monday night game.
Yeah.
I like being able to let the teams either go home or stay if they want to get that sleep. But make no mistake, the fans love two Monday night football games, and the NFL doesn't do things without thought. I think we're going to get here eventually, and I feel bad for the players.
Man, we just saw, like that Monday night game. You see the Jags going to 0-3, Bills 3-0. You see the Bengals dropping 0-3. And, every year, every before the season, all these pundits want to go and they want to predict everyone's records, who's going to win the Super Bowl, all this. We got a bunch of playoff teams that are 1-2. We have a bunch of teams we didn't even think about, didn't even imagine are 0-3. How is this league? Is it so hard to predict everything? How is everything, do you think, is really like falling in line with how everyone expected it to be?
Well, I think every year you have your juggernaut teams. Those are the teams that are usually they've been together for quite some time. Their quarterback's been there. He's been pretty successful. I would say the Bills, the Ravens. You can throw the Cowboys in there just because they've had 10 plus wins over the past 3 seasons. So those are teams. The Chiefs, of course, those are teams that are the juggernaut teams. Sad to say, but they've been pretty consistent over the last 5 years. So we can kind of predict those guys, But, it's those surprising teams, those teams that can go 0-3, start out 0-3 last year and flip it and have a good year this year, kind of like what the Vikings are doing. They're a surprise team, with Sam Darnold starting out 3-0. The Steelers, I think nobody suspected them to be undefeated, you kind of suspected them to be decent, right? But they come out and play great defense. And Justin Fields has been nice.
Mm.
So, and then I would also say Bills. Bills, even though they're a juggernaut team, with Josh Allen, they lost a lot of weapons, right? And lost a lot of guys on defense with the cap casualties. And they're coming out and they actually look better
I
than
know,
they did
right?
last year.
Woo!
So those would be my three teams right now that are surprising and are looking pretty good right now.
Well, I think anytime you start the season, if you're a team with veteran leadership, it's really easy to start out quick, right? Because you're saying, "Hey, we're focusing here. This game matters. We're going to be able to do these things." And then conversely, if you're struggling at first, now you get to find out who's really down, right? I mean, there's going to be a down point in the season one way or another. Could be week 7 through 10. Could be week 14. For some teams, it's right now. Now, look. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are fine. They're going to be just fine, okay? But you start looking around the league. I mean, Tennessee, what's happening there? They got all the talent, but how much was Derrick Henry actually doing? You know what I mean? You got to wonder. They should have paid the man twice.
Yeah.
But to me, and it's always hard, I'm going to keep the Chiefs at the top. They earned it. And the most dangerous team to me right now, though, those Buffalo Bills. Because just like you said, Chris, I mean, they lost Gabriel Davis, a receiver who was so good in the playoffs that he changed his name the following year to Gabe Davis, right? And then you lost Stephon Diggs.
Right.
What happens? You got as many touchdowns at any point in Josh Allen's career as he's ever had. And so that kind of a team who's willing and who has rookies playing like that, that's a dangerous team. Now, for everybody, winner, wherever your record is, how do you handle the current situation? That's going to determine your success in the season.
Man, I just think we're starting to see that we really don't know anything. This year, and that's why I think the biggest thing is in this league is every year is a different year. As being media members, being in football, outside of football, we really like to base everything off of years prior, or we expect people to play the same. But what we don't put into consideration is other people are getting better. Young players are getting better. You get those breakout years. And like you said, the Bills, I feel like their biggest thing that they're doing, they're running the ball. And it's with James Cook, it's with Josh Allen. It's a more complete thing. The thing we've been begging the Bills to do, they finally are doing. They're running the ball. And it's just this league every year, it gets harder and harder to predict because we're basing everything. A lot of this is, the league is turning over. There's so many young quarterbacks in this league that, every year we keep expecting them to make a jump. And sometimes it's not the jump we expect them to make. And so I really just believe that, this is why it's tough. And this is why, a lot of these teams that people try to say come out of nowhere. But it's just, you're either getting worse, you're either getting better, or you're getting worse in this league. And, this is why they get paid the big bucks, in these front offices, because it seems like a lot of these moves are starting to work out.
Well, talk about just for a sec, though, guys. Yep. All three of us know that moment where the game, it didn't slow down, but you're playing with more anticipation. And especially as it comes to Josh Allen, I'm seeing that. Sam Darnold, I'm kind of, you're seeing this. There's an evolution. If you're lucky enough to play, right, in the NFL, and if you earn that spot, when was that moment for each of you where the game really started to slow down and you found those extra steps, those extra spaces to make the big play?
I would say my fifth year.
Go ahead.
I would say my fifth year.
Yeah.
When, because for me, the way my career started, my first 3 years, I think I played a total of 8 games. In my third year, I wasn't on the team until week 16. I was at the crib just chilling. And so then my fourth year, when I signed with the Broncos and I started playing, I played that whole year. It was really, just trying to feel everything out. So then my fifth year is when I just started. That's when you finally, I was in the same defense for 2 years in a row, got to figure out, just the little nuances of a defense where I could take my shots and do that. And I really started to understand, you're looking at backfield sets and you're understanding that, the tackle's foot is back. This is a pass. Why am I playing the run right here? You know what I mean? So it's little things like that when you can find out where you can take your shots and where you can kind of go just try to go make a play where, then my career really took off after that.
Yeah, I think for me it was fairly early just because I already had the brains of the game kind of coming from college. And so it's just really just acclimating to the speed, to the, how guys run routes and bunches and stacks like that. But I'd say I really took hold on the nickel and playing outside, probably my second year, probably mid-season, and going in my second season. Just because, I had to learn fast, playing with Champ Bailey, playing with Brian Dawkins, having, Andre Goodman, a lot of good vets, that were very smart, intelligent, that I couldn't be dumb or I wouldn't be able to play with those guys,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I had to learn. It slowed down very fast, very early for me. And I think that's why I was able to come out the gate, all rookie team as undrafted,
Okay.
have production early as a rookie. So it was just mainly just playing with those older guys. Really, it's the vets,
Yeah.
right? They can speed up your time
Yes.
of development, right? And I had great vets, and they just, man, I was on super speed, with those guys. For
And
sure.
good vets are everything. Everything.
Yeah, shout out to my vet, Montrell Holland. The man taught me, I was racing to get to a preseason game. He's like, hey, man, did you eat today? I was like, nah. He's like, okay, we're going to get something to eat. And I'm like, oh, you think vets can give you time everywhere in the NFL, on the field, in the play, or just an alert that something's coming up, or just taking you to get some food, right? So I love that you bring that up.
Right.
And the intelligence. I mean, the three of us know that you have to be good at studying to stay in the NFL. And to young players who think they don't have to study, you're on your way out, right? I mean, that's the
Right.
facts. But when it comes to, like, I'm with Shelby. For me, it was that fifth year going into my sixth season. And I just said to myself, I'm like, I got to start having fun. Like, the information's out there. I had a great coach, Andy Heck, unbelievable coach. He's like, Ryan, this is a cover six. I'm like, what's a cover six, coach? I mean, it's my 6th year in the league. Nobody taught me, right? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right.
So when the game slows down, it's a mix of confidence, anticipation, and preparation. And to bring it all back, to me, the person that's doing that the most right now, Josh Allen. That man's smiling. He's calm, snapping the ball, sometimes with 4 seconds left, sometimes with 2, sometimes with 13. I mean, that's tough for a defense to figure out when that ball's coming.
Right. It's his team. And, with the outside distractions last year with Diggs, I think that probably, it probably had some friction in there. You can see it on the sideline, and you can see it even in their play. But also, man, Josh Allen is just taking care of the football.
Yes.
Right. And now that just segues us perfect to going into the rookies, right? The rookies QBs took big steps this week. And I seen Caleb Williams. He played solid, but he's still on that turnover board. Bo Nix played solid, got his first win, and we seen what Jaden Daniels did last night. What do y'all think about the rookies taking that next step going into week 4?
Man, when you have a good program, when you have a good organization, that's what you're going to see. Every week is that you're going to see improvements, and yeah, you will see some stumbling here or there. But you just got to be positive. You got to find something to build on. But hey, that performance by Jaden Daniels yesterday, that we got to play him in a couple weeks. So, I'm just like, man, efficient. Like, understands the game, understands when it's his time to get a first down. You know what I mean? But man, some of them throws, woo, man, that last one to Terry McLaurin, like what can you do? Like what can you really do? And it's just. It was special, that's a performance where you'd be like, man, I definitely saw something special in that man. Like that was legendary. But here's the thing: is you got to look at it all. Look at Caleb Williams, you look at Bo Nix. If you don't start seeing improvement, you end up in a Bryce Young situation where they didn't really see any improvement all year, and so it's crazy because the league moves so fast and they're so quick to give up on players. You gave up so much for the number 1 overall pick, and you're already trying to move on from them. And that's the league for you. But you seen these guys, you seen Bo Nix, you seen that's the thing. Bo Nix just went out, and we was giving Baker Mayfield and the Bucks all their flowers leading up to this. And Bo Nix, even though he hasn't thrown for a touchdown yet, he's over here making magic with his feet right now, and still just getting the Broncos, up, more and more. But also that was a credit to Vance Joseph, I believe, just because their defense really shut them boys down.
7 sacks on the day, homie.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That changed the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
But it's just you're seeing, and that's the biggest thing too with these rookie quarterbacks. You need good defenses behind them to take the pressure off of them, and you'll see them start to flourish a little bit better.
For me, the top two rookie quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. I mean, Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy, right? Won the Heisman Trophy last year, so it shouldn't be a surprise to as many people as we think, right? I mean, this man was the best quarterback, the best player in college football last year. So for him to be able to have a calm, have that presence, the awareness too, like, yeah, maybe I can take a shot, but let's get to a new set of downs like you were talking about, Shelby. That's rare. That's rare for a quarterback, for a rookie, to have that kind of awareness and understand when to take his shots. And then the flick of the wrist, you can't beat it. He could throw outside your coverage. So I think Jaden Daniels, I've been big on this from the beginning. I said, that's the guy. That's the guy. When you look back 3 years from now in the draft, and then they try and re-rank where the quarterbacks, that's the guy. So you haven't seen, J.J. McCarthy because of his injury and won't see him this year. And then, hey, fellas, I'm a believer. I mean, this man went on the road in the heat in the early game. And, yeah, he had some rushing touchdowns, converted some great passes, and converted third downs in the first drive throughout the game. And these guys still haven't gone 50% on third down one time this year. They left about 14 points on the field. So Bo Nix, what helped him this past week, though, he had everybody else around him play better. Cortland Sutton, I thought, had his best game as a Bronco. Maybe not statistically, but you guys know the way a receiver catches the ball early in the game, that changes a defense. He did that. Josh Reynolds went off. So Bo Nix had a lot of help around him, but he still did it on the road too.
Yeah. Like I said, my number one guy is Jaden Daniels, definitely, like y'all said, doing it with his legs, but being efficient. I think he was 91% completion percentage. Like in the NFL, like people don't understand how great that is. Like I want to see how many games Peyton and Brady had a 91% completion percentage game, even though they're probably going to throw the ball probably about 15 times more.
Prime time, too, right? Prime
time.
I mean, that's special. Yeah, that's special to go out there and do that. And also he's getting hit throwing bombs, taking a big hit, putting the ball right in Terry McLaurin's hands. And as a DB, those are tough, right? When you get those moon balls like he's throwing and it's just dropping right there in his hands, those are hard as a DB in the way he's throwing it. So, you got a real threat with the Commanders every week. You got to come ready to play because their defense isn't too bad either. I think they got some young DBs that still need some work, but their D line, they got some monsters up front. Right, so they're not bad. So he's a guy that you can definitely see win the Rookie of the Year, 100%. Definitely on the offensive side of the ball.
Man, but it's nothing more frustrating. It's nothing more frustrating than a veteran receiver with a rookie quarterback because it always takes him a couple of weeks to get into that rhythm. Just like you said, it's Cortland's best game. This is Terry McLaurin's best game. We still, Keenan Allen's been hurting, but then just all these rookie quarterbacks and their vet receivers are not really clicking yet, but then once they do, that's going to be the safety valve of, their rookie year.
Yeah, and Caleb needs Keenan Allen because he's the safety valve receiver, and he's been hurt. And we see Caleb, I think he has 5 picks already. Bo has a couple picks already, no touchdowns yet. But Bo, like Ryan said, Bo played better, right? He made some throws in the pocket. Versus Steelers, he was very nervous in the pocket, feet very chattery. He wasn't even in the pocket a lot of times. He was so scared. He was back behind the pocket.
Yeah.
Right. So this game, he was actually stood tall. The O-line play.
Yes.
Right. Was much better. Even though we lost McGlinchey, they lost McGlinchey. The backup stepped up and, they had less blocking errors. No guys running free. Bo had the protections on point, right? And that allowed him to be able to make plays even with his legs. I still think they needed more of a run game to help him out even more, right? But Bo's definitely, I can see him he might challenge Jaden for that spot. If he can continue to get production from everybody else, hopefully he can play better. But, it's always hard in that AFC West, man. He still hadn't seen a division game yet. Those are really the games where you can see where a rookie's at, right? Those division games.
What do you think makes it that way? Shelby, Chris, those division games, there's something extra. There's something extra. There's like, to me, I always was like, we're going to establish dominance, whatever happened the first time you played them or not. But what is it for you guys about in division games that kind of ratchets up that level of play?
Man, you've played them so many times. The coaches know each other. The coaches know each other's tendencies. The players know each other's tendencies. All you did, though, was change the quarterback. And unless you have a Lamar Jackson as quarterback, you're pretty much going to run the same offense. You're going to have the same checks. You know what I mean? Like, unless you have a Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, like, you know, like you're going to have the same checks. You're going to have to play pretty much the same type of ball, just a new person in there. So those division games, you know, you're literally going against somebody like your older brother or younger brother, somebody that knows all your tricks, somebody that literally knows who you are, and it's going to have to be man on man who's going to win. And that's usually how those division games are. That's why most of these division games, even if it's a team the top of the conference, you know, the top of division versus a team on the bottom of the division, they're going to be close games because there is no gimmicks. We got to play ball.
Yeah. It's just championship games. We know those count as double.
Yeah.
So as a player, you know, when I'm playing the Raiders or the Chargers and Chiefs, you know, as I'm studying extra for those games, right? I got to do extra this week, you know, and that's what they'll learn, that those games ramp up a lot. There's more on the line as a player. And, you know, like Shelby said, everybody knows your tricks. Everybody knows what you're doing, right? Phillip Rivers had to change up his calls and his, you know, his signals because we knew his stuff, right? And that's just how it is in those division games. Everybody knows what's going on. You know, the coaches have played against each other for think how long Andy Reid and Sean Payton's been facing each other.
Woo. Over a decade.
Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna know everything about each other when it's time to play, right? And that's just how it's gonna be in those games. So we gotta for a rookie, right? Those are great games to judge because we're gonna see if they can ample up that intensity.
But also, it's gonna be loud. Especially don't let you be an offense on the road. It's gonna be loud. Those are gonna be the loudest games you're gonna play. Are those division games on the road? I know Chris. I know Chris and Ryan. I know you both remember those games going into the black hole and at the Coliseum. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be loud,
violence.
You know, you're not gonna be able to hear the person next to you. Like, it's a different type of game, a completely different type of game. But you know, it's a whole different epidemic going on now. You know, with the analytics getting put into football and analytics being put into, you know, fourth down decisions and rather to go for two decisions, man. Like, what do y'all think about the idea of, you know, all these teams leaving points, you know, on the board, leaving them off the board so that they can go for it on fourth down, and a lot of times we're seeing that they're not getting them.
Well, I think for me, the number one through line on all of those fourth down analytics is coming from coaches who've never won a Super Bowl. Like, let's be clear, right? Like, going for it early in the game. I mean, I forget who it was. They were going for it on like the 44-yard line on fourth down in the second quarter. What are we talking about? What are we trying to do? Right. So for me, it's very clear there are times to go for it on fourth down. And there have to be a lot of other contexts that have been fulfilled, right? Your defense is standing up and maybe has 3 straight stops against their offense, right? I mean, now your defense is reading them, so there's no need to worry about it. That has to be fulfilled, right? Do you have the right play, a play that gives your quarterback options, and do you understand what the defense is going to do? So to me, the analytics, this is not baseball. This is football. There are rules to the game that you will be punished by the game if you do not do it the right way. You always take the points in the first half, You always want to take the points every chance you get, and especially if you have the lead. I mean, Chris, the fourth down with the lead, what are we doing? What are you doing? What is that happening? So to me, it's just indicative. Yeah. Most of the coaches who are going for it on fourth down have not been winning Super Bowls in the last 10 years. And you're starting to see teams lose. And what's shocking to me, Chris, you're seeing teams go for it, even though Brandon Staley got fired for going for it on fourth down for 3 years. Like, who's looking at the data? Those coaches are gone.
Right. And I was there for those 2 years or that year with Staley, and we
Killed you.
went for
I
it
bet
all the
it
time.
killed you, dog.
Oh man, it just
Come on.
we would go for it on our own 30, things like that. But like you're saying, the analytics we have to do it. We have to make sure the analytics don't change the game, right? Yeah. And
they won't ever,
like you said,
right? They won't ever change the game of football. Like, you still got to play that
yeah,
game that down.
Exactly. But our coaches, like you said, they're overthinking, right? These are simple calls, simple coaching adjustments, right? That, hey, if it's the first half of the game, we're in field goal range. We got to take the points.
Take the points.
Right? Even in the Atlanta, right? They lost 1-score game, right? Just take those points, Coach Morris, because when it's so hard to get in the red zone.
Phew.
Right, in the NFL, right? It's the defenses are very good. A lot of teams are playing bend don't break. So if you have a chance to get in that red zone, right, you just got to take them points. And I think the kickers this year so far they've been pretty solid.
Yeah.
Right, but it's just the overanalyzing the game. Just looking, I think they have those statistician guys on the. Some of these guys are on the field now
who never played. Right? That never played. Single statistician has ever gotten hit in the NFL. Not one.
Yeah. I remember Coach Staley had a guy on the sideline that he would just call like, okay, what's the numbers on here? What's my percentages right here? Mm-hmm. So I think some teams are having that now, and you got to be careful with that on your judgments, right? We got to kind of, in football, you got to kind of go with the feel of the game.
Right.
Right. And go off of from right there, because if the percentages say, hey, the NFL, you have a 75% chance of getting the first down right here on this fourth down. But my team hasn't been doing good on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 all game.
Thank you.
I'm not going to look at those percentages.
Yes.
Right. So we just have to go with the feel of the game, and these coaches are just overthinking.
No, I'm glad you said that, Chris. It's like, yeah, maybe it is 75% for the rest of the NFL, but that's not in this game right now. Right? Like,
yeah. Right now, we're not blocking.
Yeah. We can't do that right now. Conversely, like, if you're getting your first, you're on that drive to put them away, you cross that 50, you're on the 40, you're on the 43. And you've converted, or you've got 40 yards rushing on this drive. Hey, we're going for it, boys. That's kind of that's different.
Yeah,
I just think a lot of these guys, you can't leave points on the board. You can't leave them on the field. You got to score when time's there to score. You look at that Falcons game. If you take those 2 field goals at the end of the game, combine them, you win the game. And that's the difference between winning and losing. Like you said, there's people out there that's running analytics that never played football. And like Chris said, if you haven't been able to run the ball all game and you're trying to run it on 4th and 1, what are you going to do? Like, why are you doing that? It obviously hasn't worked, and you can't act surprised when it doesn't work again. So, analytics is such a, it's such a fine line when it comes to analytics, because, it's just, it's all about what you see on the field.
Mm-hmm. And there's no worse feeling in the NFL than walking into a locker room and your team knows your coach lost you the game. I mean, that can end seasons in week 4. It really can. I mean, you can lose your team by losing a game after all their hard work, and all you've been doing is crunching sunflower seeds and drinking Dr. Pepper. Come on now.
And this is what the coaches always say. Hey, I believe in you guys to be able to get this 4th and 1. I had so much faith in you guys and your quarterback and your playmakers to get this 4th and 1. We just didn't get it. So that's what they always say. They got to boost you up in your head, and put the faith all on you. And ultimately, the coaches is the ones that have to make that decision. Mm-hmm. Right. And they have to be able to judge off of what the play is in the game. Every game is different. So your analytics they're not going to be consistent for every game. So this is the way I take it, man. These coaches, and they kill me with this. But that's what they'll say, man. Hey, I had faith in you guys.
Yeah, well, we have faith in you too, Coach, to get the points. Get the points. All right, boys, time for the 3 best quarterbacks of the so far. What are the 3 best quarterbacks as you see it now after week 3?
Man, I got to say, Number one, like Aaron Rodgers, is he back? I think he's back.
Well, his touchdown to Lazard was nasty.
Yeah, we're seeing
nasty.
vintage. We're seeing vintage Aaron Rodgers. He's out there doing his thing. But then, is Sam Darnold the MVP? I know it's only week 3. We're going to week 4, but it's only Sam Darnold. He's really out there doing his thing. And we just talking about last week. Jaden Daniels was nice, man. And that's the thing. The Bengals defense is no slouch.
Yeah.
They're no slouches out there. Like the Bengals defense is every year in and year out. Is the only defense that gives the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money. So, those are my 3 right now. They're out there, they're balling, they're doing their thing. Baker had a shaky week against the Broncos, but those 3, those are the 3 shining stars of the week.
Right. I'm gonna have to agree with you with Sam Darnold. He's been lighting it up every week, and that was an impressive win. Even though their defense played great, versus the Texans, Sam Darnold still went out there and did his thing. He was efficient. He's continuing to find Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson loves him, right? He's getting his numbers, right? He's getting his numbers. Then we got, of course, we talked about him earlier, Josh Allen. He's playing efficient football. He's not doing too much. They're really running him a little bit less.
Yeah.
Right. He also has less turnovers. Right. This is a guy that's led the league in turnovers multiple years, right, of just being a gunslinger. So he just greatly improved these first 3 games. And then let's give I got 2 underdogs right here, man. Matt Willis. He's playing solid, with the Packers. He's not making mistakes. He's doing enough to win. And think about it, he just beat his old team. Woo. Right? When you go play your old team that trades you want to smack them. Right? And he had a head-to-head fade with Will Levis, and he beat him. Right? And we got to give credit to Geno Smith also. Right? 3-0. Seattle's rolling right now, number 1 in division, and he's doing a solid job, right? He's making the key plays that he has to make every week. So you got to it would be a shame for us to not even speak of Geno Smith and the way he has those guys playing.
Yeah, Geno Smith. I'm with Geno Smith's balling. And for me, I want to see this in December from Geno Smith. It's never been the regular season, the problems of Geno Smith. It's like, okay, good. You're back in there. Kind of like Dak Prescott, right? They both in the season are going to go on some win streaks. But in those big games, man, the turnovers come to play. You got to keep Patrick Mahomes up there. Look, Xavier Worthy's going to be a Pro Bowler as a rookie receiver. That young man can play.
Yeah.
And I love Sam Darnold. I'm going to give Sam Darnold the MVP. But I also think if you name Sam Darnold the MVP, you're really calling Justin Jefferson the MVP, right? I mean, we've all seen Sam Darnold play. Yeah. He looks a lot different with Justin Jefferson. So maybe it's a Sam. Maybe they split it or something like that. But then I'm with you guys. I mean, Josh Allen has been balling. I mean, and balling in a controlled and firm, sustainable way. And I think that's what you're talking about, Chris, with the turnovers. It's one thing if you're balling, but you got 2 turnovers every game. You start balling and spreading the ball around, running the football, and you're reducing your turnovers. Now you cannot be beat, right? So it's a different animal. So the Bills under Josh Allen, man, he's playing the best quarterback of his career. But boys, we can't limit this conversation just to the NFL because we saw a hell of a game from the Colorado Buffaloes beating Baylor. Well, you guys, you tell me, you want to start with Shedeur Sanders making really 2 touchdown throws in the final seconds of the game. One of them got caught for the touchdown. And then Travis Hunter, the number 1 pick in the draft. Where do you guys want to start? Where do you want to start with this, man?
Man, we got to start with the fact that, we can talk about Colorado doing their thing, but you got to look at Baylor being a complete letdown.
Oh, my God. I was going to say the same thing.
2 Hail Marys almost get completed. Woo! 2. And then one of them got completed. So wouldn't you think you would change something up after the first one? But then also, man, you're going in to tie the game and probably go for 2 to try to win it. Shut the crowd up quick at home. And you're in Colorado. You got to shut them up. And then you fumble at the goal line. Man, you just have to look at it as a complete letdown from Baylor. But credit to Colorado. They took advantage of Baylor's mistakes because Baylor had plays over there to make. You know, you got the corners and safeties falling on Hail Marys. Like, you got to make the play. And they didn't, and Colorado capitalized.
Baylor's head coach he definitely should be on the hot seat, right? Because especially whoever the D coordinator is, to send an all-out blitz, right, and have your corners up pressing, and no safety, zero coverage, right, and the game's on the line, and that team has to score. In that situation, as a D coordinator, I would put everybody, all my secondary, on the line.
I'm dropping
or
a
just
lineman.
a little bit in front of the goal line
in the middle. You know, like
yeah, like, and I'm bringing my tallest, Travis Hunter, or not Travis Hunter, but if he was he would be in the middle of the field.
Yes,
right. My guy, that's most athletic guy. You know, I'm gonna find the tallest receiver. He's going to be in the middle of the field. Right. So the way Baylor just coached that situation was hot garbage. Right. That's why you lost the game. It's because you want to bring an all-out blitz, and the guys don't even execute the blitz. The DNs just let Shedeur run seamlessly out the pocket.
Oh my God!
Right, and just make an easy throw. Right, I think that's an easy throw for a quarterback like him. Right, but Travis Hunter, you can't talk enough about this kid being able to play both ways. Over 100 yards receiving, shut down corner. If I'm going money wise, I would say go to receiver because you're going to make more money in the NFL probably at receiver. With the way it's at. But he's such a talented guy at corner. You rarely get guys that have great ball skills like him that can just play the ball in the air, can tackle. I've seen him be very aggressive tackler. He's the whole package at corner.
Woo. Right?
So it's hard. He has a very tough decision on his hands, and Shedeur, he definitely should be top 3 quarterback. I don't know what they're looking at, who he's competing with. I like Miami's quarterback too, Cam Ward. He's solid.
Yeah.
But Shedeur, he has that it factor in the game. I would be confident with Shedeur as my quarterback in the league because I feel like he has that swag, he has that confidence that we can win any game with him. So I like the way they finished that game, but it was more on Baylor, man. Baylor's coach should definitely be on the hot seat.
Well, first of all, Travis Hunter is the Shohei Ohtani of football. There is no other player who can do that. The 3 of us on this show have not played with a player like that. You could talk about the catches, the dead hand catching underneath somebody, they ruined the incompletion, but that is elite awareness, preparation.
I had to leave. I had to leave. Talib played both ways like that. And he didn't do every play on offense. Yeah. Right? We had packages for Talib.
This guy's doing 100 plays.
Right?
He's doing 100
plays. Yeah,
plays.
So this guy is playing every snap. Right? I just wanted to throw that in because I did have to leave. He was doing it.
Yeah.
Right? But not at the same level as Travis Hunter.
Well, and the 3 of us know there are about 3 safeties in the NFL right now with the receiver running into the end zone who are going to try and make a play on the 3-inch line. Like that's a mentality you cannot coach, and that's a mentality you cannot beat. Right? If you think you're not even a yard from the end zone and you're getting bowed by the safety. That play to knock the ball loose, crowds on the field. And then after the game, he says, it's a credit to my teammates I'm able to play this well. That's the number 1 pick overall. And if a team doesn't pick him number 1 overall, they deserve to miss the playoffs the next 5 years. Because that would be the stupidest move to pass on Travis Hunter.
Like, that's the question. What do you do with them? Do you try to let them play both ways? NFL's a different game. Come on. Like, we all know this. It's way more
I'm with Chris. Give him the money at receiver. He's playing in the red zone, though. I got a red zone corner package for him. And, when they get to the red zone, you're playing 15 plays a game. And especially the number 1 pick overall, that's the worst team, theoretically, right? Unless there's a trade. They need him. So they need him in that red zone kind of at corner as well.
That's smart. You can do it like that. Or, I've seen a lot where guys have them at full-time corner and packages at receiver.
Yeah.
Right? It really depends on who's that number 1 pick. right? Because if I'm the Panthers, well, I need him at receiver, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on who has that pick, right, and where he lands. We know how the game goes, and they automatically always put a quarterback first, right? Because it's going to be tough out of him and Shador, right, on that top pick. I don't know who else they have challenging them. Who else is a candidate for the number 1 pick?
Yeah,
It's probably
there
out
are
of those
none.
2 guys.
There are none.
Yeah, it's out of those 2 guys, right? So it's just what teams are going to be there, and he's going to have to, make a decision. I would say he's probably not going to do the combine.
No.
He's probably not going to do anything.
You take the interviews, but you're taking the interviews. You're not going on interviews. You're evaluating them.
Yourself with the combine. That's all you can do. All you do is at that point,
right.
His combine is his film. Hey, throw it up on the TV. Watch my combine. Come holler at me.
Right. And a lot of guys are not doing it now. They're shying away from these Senior Bowl games and, combines now. So he's definitely not going to do anything. But I hope he goes to a good team.
Yeah.
Right. I do not want him to go to a team like the Panthers. Right. Let's get him. Hopefully, one of these, good solid franchises have a bad year and they luck up and get the number 1 pick. Maybe hopefully Denver, Bo starts playing. Even though I want you to ball out, Bo. Yeah. Hopefully Denver falls off, we can get Travis Hunter. Because that would be game changer, for us in Denver. But hopefully he goes to a good franchise.
Yeah. Well, that's this week's episode of We're the Harrises, the best ball talk that you're going to have anywhere about the NFL and the key college games. Tune in next week. Catch us on social media. We'll talk to you soon.